Not exactly the way you want to draw it up, right? But we're finding ways to win, and there's a lot to learn from that, from my perspective, and I'm glad we're winning as we can learn from it. I didn't think it would be that literal, but I thought if we could keep it under 20 turnovers, I think we could win the game. We did just at 19. Savannah, I thought it was over 20, but I just. That's a big piece, and it was literally under. It felt like 2 more turnovers could have lost us the game, the way it was going. So weird box score. They get 18 offensive rebounds and turn us over 19 times, and we come out on top. And obviously there's several other reasons why, but really, really happy for Heaven Bristow. Really happy for Ashanti Barnes, and then I thought Peyton would just has an aura of I'm the best player on the floor type of mentality, and it's really fun to watch. And she's worked on that mentality.
Coach, earlier this week we were talking about Heaven and how you said every game you feel like she's learning and improving. Just initial thoughts on just what you saw out of her tonight and how she really just showed her presence on the court. Yeah, she's getting better, and that's I hate to say that like she wasn't good, right? But she's getting better, and she's working out with Coach Neal daily, if not every other day. Her balance is something we've really worked on, right? And you guys that watch the games, you can see she still gets unbalanced, right? She still flails around a little bit, but I thought she was like really purposeful in her drives, in her finishes today, being on balance, being aggressive to the rim, and I think everything she got was at the rim, other than the 3 and 1 jump shot. So, what I've preached to her is that it's going to be a process, it's going to be gradual, and she's bought into that, and it's hard for a lot of young people to be patient right there, but. This is where I thought she could be in, right, is being able to score 20 points. Now, not 20 points a game. That's hard to do, but you got to worry about her now, right? And so Marshall will be next. Marshall's got to make note that, okay, wait, who is this? Like what, So I think that's part of her process, and I think just the consistency. I mean, 7 for 9 and 1 for 1 from 3, and even 5 for 8 from the free throw line is growth for her. So I'm really happy for her. She's put in a lot of time, and I still don't think she's like peaking. I think it'll be more mid to late February when we really find our flow with her.
Towards the beginning of the second quarter, ODU seemed to have a bigger lineup. So did the size have any effect on the players that you put into the game? Yeah,
I thought it did in 2 ways. One, the glass. I thought we didn't dominate the glass how I wanted to. And then, we were switching 1 through 4, and so that puts one of our little guards on one of their bigs as soon as they hand off ball screen or anything like that. So I thought they did a good job trying to exploit that a little bit and trying to mismatch us. But it's okay with me. I think we can go so many different ways, right? We played Heaven at the 4 today. We played Steph at the 4, Shanti at the 4, Micaiah at the 4. So we have a lot of tools in the shed here. And so I didn't think that part particularly bothered us. Other than the 18 offensive rebounds, I think they factored into that.
Coach, are the turnovers, I feel like this is like the third game where there's parts of the game where turnovers are an issue. Is it more what the defense is doing or what you guys are doing?
we haven't been a stingy team with turnovers all year, right? Like it's just hasn't been our personality. And our goal is under 15 every game. But obviously you're playing now today, ODU that's what they do. And so, I thought maybe 5 that I can remember were just really bad ones, as opposed to just being a turnover is part of the game. But I thought 5 were really kind of sloppy or unnecessary, maybe 6. And it's just we got to get better at that. Like this is the Sun Belt, right? Sun Belt has quick athletic guards that can get up in you, right? Marshall will be very similar, and it's something we have to make sure we're improving on, knowing that we're not going to have 0 ever. So yeah, I think there's a laundry list of stuff that I want us to get better at. That would be one, but not necessarily like total consumption of just that, right?
Hello, Coach. Daniel Merriman, JMU Sports News. Tonight you had a really quick-paced ball game, and ODU pushed the floor, ended up shooting more than 70 shots. How do you feel that your team did defensively with the blocks, with the steals, but also just good closeouts today against such a high-paced offense?
Yeah, I mean I thought that's where their run came from in the start of the third quarter. I thought they just really hammered us in transition, and it was like a conscious effort from them. But that's it's okay. I like playing fast too, and that's something that works for me. I thought our transition defense was fine when we didn't turn the ball over, right? So when we turn the ball over, we have no transition defense. It's like now it's like 2-on-0, right? 1-on-0 or 2-on-1. But if it was a rebound or anything in that sense, like an interior turnover, I thought we did a pretty good job getting back. But it's crazy if you look at it, 71 to 43 field goals. I mean, that's a 30-point disparity. It's crazy. And I know we went to the line 40 times, but yeah.
And today as well, you have Peyton McDaniel, who comes out and has a very efficient 14 points, makes her presence known on the defensive end. Over this past stretch, she has not been shooting the best, but is starting to round into form and has really seemed to exemplify some of her parts of her game, like driving to the basket, like facilitating, and like defense. How do you feel she's grown through this stretch?
I mean, massively. And I'm not going to share all the depths of it, but I mean, we've been through a lot of time, a lot of talk, a lot of emotion, because P is she wants to be the best, like the very best, and almost to a point of perfectionist type of stuff. And you're in sport, man. There's no perfection in sport, right? And so we've had discussion after discussion. I think her mentality and finding the mentality is the biggest key to why she's playing so well right now. And that's I can see it on her. Before the game, I usually give her a little pep talk. Today, I was like, "You don't need a word from me. I can see it in your face," and that's a refreshing feeling. And so, I think her and myself would be fools to think that like, oh, it's set, it's locked. No, man, there's going to be some ups and downs here, but I think the more mature she is with her mentality, and understanding failure and success are hand in hand, I think that goes to the growth that she showed and the maturity that she's showing now. But knowing that it's not going to be perfect. But I thought she was close to perfect today. I thought she was great today.
Do you see Heaven's, I guess, comfort level, confidence, everything just kind of growing as she gets on the court more and more? Yeah,
offensively. I think defensively, I thought that was an easier one to control, right? The touch and the live game and all that stuff. That's what I've really seen the growth in offensively. I thought rebounding and defensively, she's been pretty steady, and not perfect, but pretty steady. But the offensive growth is really what I've seen. And today was really impressive. I mean, just downhill, finishing at the rim, is what I thought she would be.
And as an alum, when you get here as a student, like JMU never beats ODU, and then you join the staff, it becomes kind of a competitive rivalry, and now you've won 9 in a row, which was unheard of before this. Like, does it mean more to you, like personally, to turn the tide of this rivalry? I
mean, it does, and I believe I was talking to Corey about it on the radio. It's like I've seen the TJ Jordans, right? I've seen the greedy, like the ones where those teams are unbeatable. You think, right? Jasmine Walters, where they're a Sweet 16 team, right? I've seen all that stuff, and I was on the sidelines for that stuff. So, Corey asked me before the game. He said, "Is it a rivalry for your team?" And it is for me. Like, I'm always like, I'm circling this. What, like, ODU is that for me? I don't. Is it for Chloe Sterling? I don't know. Probably not, right? But I think even with the battles that we've had, I still feel like our team feels a little bit of that. But they don't know, right? They don't know. When Jen Brown got her teeth knocked out here, when Old Dominion was ranked 11th and she came back in the game and we won the game, and Mickey Matthews had let the football team out of study hall. So back then in the convo, we had bleachers in the end zones and it was filled with football players, and they were just like, I mean, they stormed the court. Like, that's my memory of this whole thing, right? And so I've been through all that stuff. I think it does mean a little bit more to me personally. But I do think it's getting there, even though I know we've won some. They're not blowouts. right? That they're all right there. I mean, at their place last year in OT, I watched the tournament game. I mean, that's coming down to 2 points last 4 minutes of the game. So there's a lot to it, and I got respect for how they play and what they do. And I wish they got points for that, Shane. I wish you got a 9-game win streak, you start the game 9-0 or something, but it's not how it works, man. We're gonna have a battle down there. I think it's their last game, it's our last regular season game. We play down there the last game of the regular season, I believe. So.
Was there an explanation you were given on the double technical?
Yeah, it's hard because I just saw her go down, and they said it's going to be. It's one of the things I think they should change in college basketball. You know how the NFL, right? They get Mike and they say, "Hey, we got a hold on number 54." Like the crowd doesn't have any idea what's going on, right? Is that the case? Like when you're in the crowd, like you can't. They're not giving you a real explanation. They say double foul. Okay. So all they said was they were both battling. They were both tied up, and so they did a double. Intentional foul is what they call it, a double off-ball foul. So it should have been a foul for Susha and a foul for, I guess, I thought it was 3 at the time, but I can't quite recall. But that they just looked at it and they said double foul.
And one last question for me tonight. Speaking at that 7-5-7 connection, you have Ashanti Barnes, who gets double-digit rebounds, some big 7 points. Can you talk about her addition to this team, coming from ODU, having her trip to community college, and now being here, and what she's been like for your team at that backup big position?
A joy, man. I mean, she could be a starter. When she is playing hard and she's confident, I mean, you could argue she's the best player on the team at that time. She has challenges as far as consistency, like any player, right? But this was a big one for her. This meant a lot to her because it's full circle for her from a really rough time in her life when she goes to ODU. Didn't go well. And she ended up having to go to junior college. Fine, that went better for her. But I think kind of finding herself in that whole process, and you're in college, right? You know that's part of it. But Ashanti's been an absolute joy, man. I love. She's got a great attitude. I love coaching her. And so sometimes I got to kick her in the butt a little bit, but that's okay with me. That's why it says coach in front of my name, so that's fine.
I asked the players this before you came in, but just how good does it feel to just be back in the AUBC like we talked about earlier this week with back-to-back conference wins? Yeah, well, and the other thing is, we've done it really sparingly, but like the doubleheader thing I think is pretty good. I mean, it's busier for a lot of people, but I like the buzz. I think there's a little buzz going on around here where it's like really good basketball. You got the men are good, we're good. I think that's cool. I thought the crowd today was great. In a really choppy game too. I thought it was a choppy game with all the fouls, but it does mean a lot. And it's when we first started playing in here, I didn't really understand the home court advantage. It was going to be because it was COVID, and I was still in love with the Convocation Center. It's really coming to be that for us. Will you and the women's team stick around to watch the men, or how does that kind of work for your team?
I don't make them, but I heard most of them will be here for it. So I think Duke's supporting Dukes,